Welcome to Man at the Tap, a podcast of Tapestry Ministries. Each episode reflects on a daily Bible reading from the Revised Common Lectionary. I'm Gloria, a fellow traveler on a spiritual journey with the Tapestry community, and we refer to the daily Bible reading as our spiritual manna. It nourishes our souls, fostering spiritual growth as we share insights and interpretations that enrich our spiritual lives. Today is Thursday, January the 8th, 2026, during the week of Epiphany. The lectionary reading is from the Old Testament book of 1 Samuel, chapter 3. It recounts how the Lord called a teenager to become Israel's spiritual leader. Joshua led the children of Israel out of the desert where they had lived for 40 years and into the promised land. He helped them receive their allotted inheritance, but after his death, there was no designated military successor. Everyone did what seemed right in their own eyes. Every year, people gathered under Eli, the high priest, to worship and offer sacrifices to the Lord. However, Eli ignored the misconduct of his two sons who served with him. They behaved rudely toward the people and mistreated the women. Hannah was a married woman with no children. Her husband later married another woman who had many children, and she mocked Hannah for her infertility. One year, Hannah and her husband assembled with others to worship God and to offer sacrifices. During this time, she prayed that if the Lord granted her a son, she would dedicate him to God's service. Her prayer was answered. When her son Samuel was around 5 years old, she dedicated him to God and placed him with Eli the high priest. Samuel then served God under Eli's supervision. The lectionary reading is 1 Samuel chapter 3. Samuel is now a teenager. It was nighttime, and he was in bed when he heard his name being called. Samuel, Samuel. He ran to Eli and said, "Yes, I'm here. I heard you call. Here I am." Eli told Samuel to go back to bed. "I didn't call you." It happened a second, then a third time that Samuel heard his name called, and he ran to Eli and said, "Yes, I'm here. I heard you call. Here I am." But Eli responded as before, "I didn't call you. Go back to bed." That's when Eli recognized that it was God calling Samuel. He then advised Samuel on what to say if the voice called again. Samuel was to respond, "Speak, Lord, I'm your servant, ready to listen." Afterward, Samuel returned to his bed. The lectionary reading ends at verse 9, but the story continues in tomorrow's reading of 1 Samuel chapter 3 from verses 10 to the end of the chapter. Please watch the Tapestry YouTube podcast for Friday, January the 9th, 2026.